Hey guys, what's up? How's it going? This is Easy Things to Draw. Today we're going to go over how to draw Baymax in his armor from Big Hero 6. And we are going to probably color him as well. I'm going to be using a regular number 2 pencil for this. I'm trying to think. I'm probably going to be using this calligraphy pen. It's either going to be this or this brush pen over here. I'm not quite sure yet. I'll let you know as I use them. And I'm going to have 3 colored pencils: red, purple, and black. Anyways, let's go in here with the colored pencil. I'm going to keep this on one layer, so it's going to be a little bit lighter than I normally draw, so please kind of, hopefully you can keep patient with that, with me. Keep patient with me. Sorry. So I'm going to start with his general body type. I want to get a big, broad idea of what space his body's going to take up entirely, So I'm going to start with that, and I'm basically going to be drawing out the limbs. Where do I want my approximate limbs to be, with like lines through the middle, almost like I'm setting up some sort of wireframe, right? Let me see if it fits on the page, which is my, most important thing, is that it fits on the page for you guys so you can see. And I'm kind of trying to remember the scale of the head, things like that. The scale of the head's really important. He's got a very tiny head. So I'm going to draw a shape. Hopefully you can see that out there to start out with. He's got a shoulder, a really large shoulder pad, which is huge. It's bigger than his head, And I'm going to draw kind of tube-like wireframe for his arm. I'm just trying to find the masses now. What kind of mass is his body going to take up? Bottom of the torso. Again, tracing this out. Might pull that up a little bit. His legs still have to be there. He's got a very thick overall frame, body type. Upper thigh is bigger than his lower leg. Keep that in mind. This is going to come in front because this is in front of his body. He's angled a little bit to the left. Straight line. Pulling that line down here, I'm going to find the approximate thickness of this arm. And then I'm going to break that arm up into segments where that's going to be. And his wings are going to be behind him. Sorry I'm not very chatty right now. I'm actually thinking quite a bit here. So far we got the basic outline. This is going to be the basic, mass that his body's going to take up on the page. You want to do this so that you don't start drawing and then it just goes right off the page. You know what I mean? That's what this is for. So let's kind of take a kneaded eraser here. Where is it? I got a kneaded eraser. And I'm going to try to scale back the lines a little bit, just a little bit. A little bit, just kind of rubbing it like a little bit. I want to pull back. And I'm going to go in with pencil again. And I'm going to start by mapping out his helmet a little bit closer. I'm going to zoom in on it in terms of with my eyes. And I'm not going to do it with every detail because I'm going to go in with it with pen. I'm going to put the that kind of hole he has in the front of his helmet. little wings inside of his helmet as well. Just kind of tracing that out. Top of his chest. His armor seems to go on in layers. Keep that in mind. Everything's very round. You know, even though he is an armored dude, ready to kick butt, he is round. Other side over here, it's kind of got this bulbous side over here of his chest, and then that armor goes on top of it. Like I said, it is in layers. This is the shoulder pad. Splitting this up into segments. Circle pattern there, circular. This is the joint. Sorry about that, I had to fix the camera there for a little bit. Going over his hand. His hands are like little blocks. That's the way I like to think of it. It's like a lot of square pieces if they fold up. You always get your own hands to reference as well, because those do function like normal human hands. So really think about that. You can reference your own hands for even stuff like robotics, like at least robotic hands, because that's what they're based on. Lower portion of his torso. Again, really round. He's got like this kind of, I don't know, think of it like underwear over the top. Think of it as another layer from the stomach layer, or his abdomen. His abdomen has kind of a light layer to it as well. His thigh, very bulbous. Right here, the knee. His knee on the other side as well, over his thigh, and it's got squished together. Again, sorry I'm being quiet, guys. It's just a little bit more complex than I normally go. It's weird how Pixar and Disney have kind of switched places, huh? Pixar is doing like these planes and Cars 2, and they're kind of staying safe in terms of what projects they take on, and then Disney's doing this, which I think is a very kind of different thing, very different premise than what they normally do. I think that's very odd how they kind of switch places, at least for this point in time. Shoulder pad over here has to be a little bit bigger to match the other side. Upper portion of his arm, trying to even it out with the other arm. His joint. His hands over here, again, kind of reference your own hands if you have to. Actually think of it as a block first, and then I break up that block. And then again, go back to the wings. Gonna put slightly more detail in them, not much. Throw maybe a layer in there. So at this point, I think I have enough to actually start the inking portion of it. See, I kind of have the pencil laid out. I have a general I have the general layout. I have like a loose line drawing of. You can kind of tell what's going on, what it is. What it is, you know, you can tell what it is. I guess I am. Am I gonna go? No, I'm gonna go with the. I'm gonna go here with the this calligraphy type pen. Basically, you can use a regular pen if you're doing this at home. You can easily do this at home with regular pen. So I'm gonna start with the head. Like I said in the other video, it's interesting how characters look in 2D. After you, I mean, essentially, I'm tracing over my own stuff here. It's amazing how characters look in 2D and compared to the way they look in 3D. They're almost unrecognizable because in 3D there's no line. I could throw that down maybe there. Throw his eyes, his Baymax eyes. I'm gonna the shoulder's closer to us, so I'm gonna start by inking that. Inking that shoulder pad right there. Again, doing this in pencil first takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and that's kind of the way you're mostly going to be working, especially if you're doing jobs and things like that. You're gonna have to work in stages at the beginning. I know guys, because of time's sake, they do everything at once. They design, they, you know, the whole design and ink, and they do these thinking processes all at once, and I'm just like, wow, man, that's so crazy that they can do that. I think I've only seen really good professionals that can do that. But the majority, people just do it in steps. You know, you design it. I mean, luckily the design's already we already know the design. It's a character. You know, but we're still doing this in stages. I'm finding the proportion on the page. Then I'm finding the width. You know, I'm trying to see how it stands, if it makes sense how it's standing on the ground. You know, then you're finding smaller details that are on the actual thing itself. You know, and whatever that may be. So, I mean, I tend to do that in stages. I still do it in stages. I know very few people that do everything at once, like I said. But sometimes I know, like I said, you know, usually it's a time factor thing. If you are forced to do a job and you're like, boom, 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 you got to just rush through it, you can get some pretty cool results. Or if it's something that you draw all the time. If it's something you draw all the time, I mean, yeah, I can do certain monsters just like at a snap's notice, you know. Right here. I'm gonna throw this line here, but I'm gonna try to make it thin as I can. And then there's a round pattern right there. I'm gonna trace it. I'm gonna go over here to his torso. Sometimes I consistently like sit back and look at like the overall, you know, what I'm doing so far to kind of keep myself in check. Sometimes you can just get too close onto this thing and not realize what's going on, you know. Oh, but like I was talking about stages, yeah, because like at this stage, you know, the inking part of it, if you're doing something that's, you know, like a full body kind of thing, you don't really want to start going right into the ink of it, really, because then you can't change anything, you can't move anything. you're gonna get like I said, part way into the drawing, and then you're gonna realize it doesn't fit on the page or something like that. You could realize that it doesn't fit on the page, or just something's out of proportion. You know, let's say one, like, you know, honestly, one of the most common things for me was like one arm is way too long or something. You know, that's a very common thing that happened to me in the past. You know, just something's wrong, and then you're like, oh, I can't change it. That's too bad. I wish I had penciled that in first. But like I said, so essentially at this stage, like I said, you're essentially tracing what you just drew in. You know, the only thing I'm thinking about is keeping my lines clean-ish, you know, clean enough. That's really what's going through my head right now, just keeping my lines as clean as I can get them. Knee right here. And there's always a chance that you might have to change things as you're tracing it, you know, like you're noticing little things throughout the whole process. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be set in stone, the pencils that you were doing. The far portion of his torso. Far bicep. Also the joint over here. I thought I'd have a harder time with the joints. I'm not having that hard of a time. Going to the hand, most of the thumb first. Drawing the hands there. Not putting in a whole lot of detail. I'm just kind of throwing in his fingers and this little bunch. And now for the wings. Oh, snap. I was trying to hit that in one stroke. Oh, I missed that one completely there. But luckily it's just the wings. It's not a huge deal. I don't know what went wrong over there. I just completely messed that up. Let me, the next thing I want to do is I want to, actually I don't know about the lines on his stomach. I'm not going to put those, actually. I'll put those in when I color it, and I'll show you how I do that. For now I'm going to leave this as is, and I'm going to erase. Erase, erase, erase. I want to get all the construction lines out of there. Also, sometimes when you do this, you'll see that you miss stuff, you know? I think I missed, oops, wrong side. Actually, no, I didn't miss anything. I'll leave it as is. He has a circle on his hand, actually. I'm going to trace that in there. I don't want to, but I might as well. Okay, so let's move on to the drawing part. Sorry, the drawing part. Let's draw on to the coloring part. I'm going to be using these really cheap colored pencils that I have. Hold on, let me erase this from his shoulder. I'm going to start with a purple because I feel like that's, I don't know, I just want to start with a purple and knock that out. I'm going to leave a little bit of, like I said, I want some reflected light to bounce back. So I'm going to leave a bar of white there. Coloring that, I'm throwing that big layer of that color over it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those rivets in there through this pencil. I'll throw a little bit more dark there. I might leave it as is like that. I'm going to throw purple on the hand here. And on the shoulder. And I'm going to leave it like that for now. And I'm going to do the red. And I mean, you know, depending on who draws him, he has a reddish orange tint. But all I have is a red. So I'm going to be using red for this. So forgive me, okay, guys? I'm going to have to use the only red I have in this really cheap colored pencil set that I have. Unfortunately. So again, I'm coloring him similar to the way I would color, like, you know, a coloring book. I'm leaving in like some reflected light, and I might throw a highlight in there, as I'm doing right now with this. Oops. Trying to think of something else to talk about. Robotics is one of the funner things for me to draw. I love drawing robots. It's really, really fun. And one of the things I heard lately from one of my favorite artists, I forgot his name. He's one of my favorite artists, but I completely forgot his name. He gave me some good advice I really liked, and that was think about you know, a lot of the stuff that he made was really from copying the robotics in his room. By the way, I'm talking about the very broad robotic advice now, you know, when you draw robots. But, you know, look at your lamp. It has a lot of cool gears in it. You just gotta look at that and you gotta throw that in there into your made-up robot, you know. But that's what he was talking about. I'm like, he's so right. It's kind of all around us, really. You know, things like these gears and things like that, they're kind of all over the room. So I am gonna, I don't want to fast forward this. I mean, I guess I might have to. I don't want to fast forward this. I'm just gonna keep talking about nonsense. Let me see. We get a sharpener again. This is probably the only time I will ever get carpal tunnel is using colored pencil, because you're pressing down so hard. And I feel like the bones are pushing together in my hand. It does not feel comfortable at all. Not comfortable at all to use colored pencil, but you know, message me if you like using it. I'm curious who really, really likes it. Actually, that's really the entire reason I don't like using colored pencil, is because it is just hard on my hand. Especially these. These are tiny colored pencils. They're short, so they really dig into my hand sometimes if I angle them the right way. Oh, there's actually a little purple on his ear there. Continuing to color. As you notice, the coloring process is long, and I guess what I'm going to do is I guess I'm gonna have to speed this up, guys. Sorry. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm gonna speed this up and I'll see you at the end of the video. Anyways, guys, that's about it. It wasn't so much like a technical coloring in colored pencil. I just did that to kind of add some color to the drawing, to give it some weight, to give it some context, really. I added just a simple one-pass color. What I could do is I could mix colors. Like I could go in with the orange and just start mixing stuff back and forth, things like that. But for now, I'm just going to leave it like as is just a demo. And what I could do is one last thing is I could do what I usually do, which is trace the outer lines, create a thicker outline to contain the shapes, which you guys have seen me do a lot. And I'm just going to trace it. I'm actually leaving the wings out of it because I want to make them look like they're behind him. Again, that's to kind of add just like a stylistic effect that I like. But do whatever you want. And thanks a lot for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.